So class, we're going to look at freezing panes today, and the reason why we need to freeze panes, let's say I have this data and I'm trying to get to the bottom of the data. Notice I face a problem. I don't know what this number 318 means or this 24.8 because the header that I had in row 19 is also scrolling with the data. And notice how I've got counties on my left. If I scroll my data to the right, notice I now no longer know what these numbers mean. Which county do they correspond to? Well, Excel has a fix for that, and that's called freezing panes. And uh, the trick to that is where you put your cursor. So put your cursor one cell below the header and one cell to the right of the first column, and click on View. You have freeze panes. Freeze panes. Notice now I can scroll down and my header on row 19 stays fixed. And now I can scroll to the right and the counties on my left stay fixed. So that is freeze panes, and that is part of your first homework. Now, coming back to the rest of the portion, we're going to look at sorting. So I have this data that's in a jumbled up order. It's neither ascending nor descending. So let's say I want to make it ascending, where it's going from the smallest to the largest value. So I go into data, I sort A through Z, 1 through 9. Let's say I want it the other way around, where it's going from the largest to the smallest, and I go from Z through A. Notice that? Really simple. But there are times when I have data that's adjacent to each other. Let's say, for example, I have these students, 7 students, and their grades out of 45, okay, and I want to arrange them in the ascending order, where the smallest is at top and the largest is at the bottom. So 15 would be at top and 42 would be at the bottom. So let's see, and Emily has received 15, Dennis has got 42. If I sort, it will ask me sort by. I say sort by column C because that's where my grades are, in column C. And I go to smallest to the largest and I say OK. And notice how Emily has on top and Dennis is on the bottom, right? And now we have data lists like this. So we have students, um, 8 students with their characteristics of age, their scores in test 1, what class in college they are, what is their gender, right? And I make criteria blocks. Criteria box is just a fancy name for making a criterion out of the data that I have over here. So I have data called year, so I make a box called year, and below that I put junior. My gender is male, age 20, and I ask it to sort the data, or in terms of I can do functions on it, dsum, daverage, dmax, dmin on the database. Notice these are simple functions with a d in front of them, and this is the syntax on how you would do that. So you have these criteria blocks, for example, and you want to do an average of data 1 being this data right here, and you have test 1 is your scores in test 1, and then you have your data block, and your data block, your criterion block being year, senior, and that's why your syntax says D101 to D102, which is this right here, column D, row 101, column D, row 102. So this is your criterion block, and that's why it's giving you an average of that, 88.25. And you can do a simple check. You can see which are all your seniors. These 4 students are your seniors, and these are their scores in test 1. If I highlight these 4, I can see at the bottom right here, the average is 88.25, which checks out with this number 88.25. Okay, so you have some examples here of this kind of data where you can do average, count, and this is filtering. Now, to filter data, I come to the top row where I have these various criteria: first name, phone number, major, so on and so forth. And I go back to my data tab. See this funnel over here which says filter? I click on filter and I get these little squares with down arrows on them. Now let's say I want to find out list of people who like pizza and golf. So I go to food, I select, first I deselect everything, then I select only pizza. I say okay. It gives me all the people who like pizza. Then I look for people who only like golf. First I deselect everything. I only select golf. And I have these 2 students, Ryan and Paul, who like pizza and golf. Same thing I can do with this, folks that like either basketball or football. So I first come here and I clear filter from food, clear filter from sport, and from sport I deselect basketball, football. People who like basketball, football, or football, there are 12 people, and that's what I have over here is these 12 students. So that's filtering for you. And I have some more examples for you here on manipulating data. So I hope this is clear, and you can always send me an email if something is not clear. You can also do a Google search, check out some videos on YouTube, and hopefully this lesson was fairly straightforward. Have a great fall break, and I hope to see you all when I get back from India. Thank you.